Welcome to the SpaHive Podcast. We're your hosts, Julie Pankey
and MaryAnn, spa leaders, business strategists, and business besties who are pulling back the curtain on what it actually takes to grow a business and a life you don't secretly want to escape from.
This is where leadership meets honesty, where revenue meets relationships, and where we talk about the things no one puts on Instagram.
So, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or a high achiever who's building something meaningful, but also navigating team dynamics, burnout, boundaries, and big goals, you're in the right place.
No highlight reels, no sugarcoating, just real conversations, practical strategy, and a little laughter along the way. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to the I'm Julie Pankey, your host, with my business bestie, MaryAnn. Good morning, MaryAnn.
Good morning, Julie. How are you? How's it going? How's the weather?
The weather is fantastic. It's going to be 80 degrees and sunny today.
Oh, sounds hot.
Yesterday, we had tornado warnings. So crazy.
There? Have you ever had one there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, several people were very nervous, especially the J1 workers who are new to our country and are like,
yeah.
Oh my God, what should I do? Are we going to have a tornado? And I was like, don't worry. Our tornadoes are not like the tornadoes that they have in the Midwest. Not the same. Yes, we could have a tornado touch down, but we're in a very big, strong building.
Very big, strong building.
Baby pool chairs might get blown around, but we're safe here.
Yeah.
If a tornado
Power might go out.
If a tornado comes through, we just stay away from the windows.
Yep.
And so it didn't. We did get a tornado warning that was it was like a 3-hour window.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, a tornado warning, and then severe thunder. Then it downgraded later to at 6 or so to severe thunderstorm warning. But we didn't really get any. I mean, maybe there were tornadoes somewhere. I know at my house we lost power. And I saw a lot of people around lost power. We didn't lose power, and thankfully we have a generator at my house, so Gary didn't even know we lost power until he went outside and heard the generator.
He's like, huh.
Because it just goes right on.
Amazing.
So he was but I don't even know how long we lost power because I didn't even realize that we did.
Yeah. Yeah, but you need that generator there. Yeah, I mean, down here, we get our fair share of tornado warnings and watches. We kind of filter through which ones we have to take more seriously than other ones. In my hometown, there was a very large tornado that touched down when I was young, and it did do a lot of damage. And so it's not a thing that I don't know about. But I do kind of always feel like, they're never going to touch down, which I shouldn't say that out loud because that definitely means that it will.
Right.
So, well, I'm glad you survived.
So that's why I was worried. I didn't want to downplay it too much because Carol will tell you the story of us driving straight through the middle of a tornado that came through North Berwick, where we used to live in Maine. I don't know, probably could be 20 years ago now. I don't know, but we're driving along, me and Carol and Auntie, and everything's it was raining and windy, but all of a sudden the rain stopped and all you saw was leaves blowing up, and my mom's and the lights. We were stopped at a traffic light and the lights were swinging. My mom's like, something's going on. She's like, are we having a tornado? And I was like, we don't get tornadoes.
We don't get NATOs.
And so we went home, she's like, and the car is like shaking a little. And so we took a right to where we lived. We took a right and then you take a left and it was up there. And we got home and I started hearing like sirens and stuff. So I forget how we found out, but we got back in the car and drove back down. And if at the stop light, you could go right and then left towards our house, or you could go left and then right towards our house because we were like in the middle. And if we had gone left, so this is how like things happen. So if we had gone left and then right, that's exactly the tornado path was that road to our house. And all those like, those like pop-up garages that people
Yeah.
have decimated to the ground. There was a big greenhouse on that road, glass shattered, the whole thing decimated to the ground. So the path went right up there. And, there wasn't like, the kind of damage that you hear about like in, flatter Midwest states. But there was a good amount of damage right in its path of things that weren't like secure, for example.
Yeah, right. Anything that's not on a foundation.
Right. So we would have
Probably.
drove right through that thing if I had gone left instead of right.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't go left instead of right.
And when we went that way, guess what was there? Because we went to go check it out. We heard all the sirens.
Yeah.
FEMA was already there. Yeah.
They act quick. That
My
FEMA.
mom's like, FEMA? See? I told you there was a tornado. And I
love
was
how she's like, I told you, but I didn't tell you to go. Keep going.
crazy.
She's just like, we waited for the light and then we made it right.
Yeah, there were other cars around. Looks like we were the only car on the street. Weird.
No way.
So, what are we talking about today?
So today is a fun one. Today we're going to play a little game. Do you want to play a game, Julie? Imagine
Sure.
Julie and I bought your spa yesterday. We got the keys. We walked through the front door this morning, and now it's ours. Woo-hee. What are the first things we're looking at? What are we changing? What are we keeping? And what mistakes do we see spa owners making over and over again that we can fix immediately with Julie's magic wand? So this is a fun one. I mean, we've always said, like you have always said, you would never own your own spa, right? So in this, use your imagination. The tide has turned. The the hourglass is, I don't know, flipped over. Whatever the sayings are, I'm not sure.
Right.
But
I love this topic.
I know, right? Let's get into it. Okay, so our first test is the parking lot test. We just bought the spa. We haven't even walked in yet. What's the first thing we're noticing?
Honestly,
Yeah.
everything. It's like sensory overload.
So you're pulling into the parking lot. We just got our coffees. I drink coffee, you don't. You got, I don't know, a hot chocolate
I'm
or something.
looking at the landscape. I'm looking at the signage. I'm looking at the lighting. I'm looking at how inviting it is. What's the condition of the building? What is around, like, surrounding businesses, not businesses, neighborhood? How clean are your windows? Do you have a window display? Do you have windows? Do you not have windows? Do you go in and go to a basement? Are you at like road level? Do I have to go upstairs? Because, if I'm paying attention, those things tell me something. And a healthy business usually leaves clues, and so does an unhealthy one.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say I am looking.
And you should have flowers.
Yeah, you should have flowers. I am looking for the details. So like, if you go in, let's say you're in a strip mall, right? And, you've got the marquee or whatever above the building and like one of the lights is out in the word, like in the
Right.
letters of the word, it drives me insane.
Right.
Drives me insane. And
I mean,
I
if you
know.
have like man-made staple-esque posters in the windows.
No. No, and I know, like, it takes a long time, and it's usually not your thing, like, if you're in a strip mall, you're probably renting the space, of course, but, like, when there's a letter out in the title, I hate it, drives me up a wall.
Right.
My other thing I'm looking for is trash, right? Like, I totally understand, like, especially if you have common spaces, you can't control everyone. But at this point, it doesn't even matter. Like, you just need to pick up the darn trash,
Right, right, right.
or like
Yeah.
cigarette butts. That I don't know if I'm walking in.
No. And I think for me, there's like your caution signs and then your, I guess, green light signs, right? So are there cars in the parking lot, right? Does it look like it's a busy place? Do you have fresh flowers? So where I get my hair done, and it's just a little salon, right? It's owned by a mom and daughter. The daughter has like taken it over more now, and the mom works like part time. And there's maybe like, I don't know, 5 hairstylists there.
Yeah.
And when you walk in, and it's in what I would call like a mini strip mall, but when you walk in, you go down a couple steps and the mother is, well, they both but are avid gardeners, and they created on like both sides like a mini garden. It's not
Yeah.
a ton, but
Right.
there's like a peony bush and there's like a rose bush, and they plant lots of like dahlias and stuff in season. And it looks really like kept nice and inviting when you go in. And you always look like I look to see, what's blooming in the garden, right? If it's spring, is it like tulips and
Right.
daffodils? What their rose bush looks like now. And that's super inviting, and it's just a small business, right? You don't have to be
No.
like a monster business. Like I said, I think
Uh-uh.
they have 5 stations, 5 stylists. They do nails. They
Yeah.
don't do anything else.
Yeah. I think it's like the attention to detail, right? And that starts from before you even walk in. I think it's a big thing. Like, also, can somebody find the business?
Mhm.
I can't tell you how annoyed I get. I get annoyed a lot, obviously. But when I can't find the business, when I have to
Right.
check what suite number it is over and over again. Again, sometimes you only have so much control of that, especially if you're a renter, and it's a complex type of deal. But try to get creative in ways to make yourself stand out and create the vibe before you even set foot into the door.
Right. Exactly. And if there's a sign that says 20% off everything,
I'm
we've
going
got
in.
we've got a big problem.
Uh,
Because if
I'm
if discounting is your main marketing strategy, we already know there's a problem with the business.
Well, yeah. I mean, right. Unless they're closing, of course, right? If you're like a clothing business, that makes sense. But we're talking about spas. So you shouldn't have something like that on your door, anyways. All right. So, next, after we have pulled apart the outside of your business, and I've picked up every last cigarette butt I've seen in sight, and Julie's ripped down all your signage, let's talk about the first 24 hours. What are the first things we're looking at, Julie, in the first 24 hours? What do you want to see first?
Well, I am going to go into your spa software, and I'm going to find out your client retention rate. And I'm going to run a report that tells me your top 50 to 100 clients.
Okay.
Because most likely in most businesses, especially, a day spa, they're your biggest spenders.
Right.
So that's who I want to reach out to first to make sure that, we can retain their business, because that's where probably 60% of your revenue was coming from.
Mhm.
And the guest retention rate is going to tell me how your guest experience was actually working or not working. Because you can have great marketing, beautiful social media. We were just talking about that, and a packed schedule. But if nobody comes back,
What's the
then,
point? Yeah.
you've got kind of a leaky bucket.
Leaky bucket. Yes, absolutely. And we know for a fact it costs your business less to continue to serve the same clients than for you to find new clients, right?
Right.
We know that there is a price tag to that. So, it's always the lowest hanging fruit is to try to rebook and resell and upgrade the clients you already have to make
Right.
some money quick. I think that's a really good point. Now, okay, so we're talking about if we go into their computer, what's the first thing? So we're looking for, your top clients. We're looking for your retention rate. I want to take a look at the schedule. I want to see who's coming in, who's not, how many people you have coming in. Let's say you're a business that takes walk-ins,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's say you're a nail business, right? Or a blowout bar and you take walk-ins. Do you have anyone there to actually take the walk-in? Is the question.
Most of the time, I feel like that they don't.
They don't. And so it sort of drives me nuts as a customer when you advertise that you take walk-ins and like it's on your marketing, right? It's on your chalkboard sign outside, right? Walk-ins welcome. And then you actually don't.
Right. Right.
So that definitely I think is an issue. But then you have the other flip side is, do you have too many people just sitting around waiting?
Right. Exactly.
You know? And then that's just going to eat into your bottom line too. And like, what are they doing while they're sitting around waiting? Because they're certainly not picking up those cigarette butts outside that I just picked up. Great. So we've looked at their software programs, figured out who's supposed to be there, who's not supposed to be there. Now let's look at the physical space. That is something that and I don't do this when I walk into people's houses typically.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do in my head, right? But what are we noticing about the space first off, right? Like we are assuming that we're not buying crap hole, but you never know. Maybe it was a very good discount and we thought we could rehab it, right? We have a
Right.
famous HGTV show about rehabbing spas, and this is where we're going in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I notice first and foremost when I go into other people's homes. This is
You
why I
look
was
at
on
their
my
baseboards.
You know what? I'm sorry. I have to say that I do. This is why I was on my hands and knees last week scrubbing my kitchen baseboards because I still clean my own house, right? We haven't made it that big. And the baseboards need to get done and they drive me insane. And I don't know what it is.
You don't just do them with your weekly cleaning.
No, I don't have a specific weekly cleaning task list. I do not. We clean every day, but I don't have a deep clean every week. No.
Because I have a housekeeper, and his name is Gary Pankey.
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to talk to you, okay? You
And
got it.
every time he vacuums, he gets out the little thing and vacuums the baseboard.
See, now that would be amazing. So George is a vacuumer. He loves to vacuum. He'll put things away, does a great job. But when it comes to actual like scrubbing and things, that's not his
Yeah.
thing. So I'm looking at your baseboards and I apologize, but now it's out in the open that I look at baseboards.
I mean, when I go to people's house, I look at their clutter. But at your spa, I am definitely noticing the dust. There's two things, two of my pet peeves. Artificial plants make me crazy.
Artificial plants in my house.
And when they're dusty, it's disgusting. And I'm talking about a spa, not your house. But if I went in your bathroom and you had an artificial plant on the back of the toilet with like a 1/4 inch of dust on it because of like hairspray dust,
Yeah.
hairspray and then dust sticks or whatever.
You're like, I am
So
throwing it out for you.
whenever I go to the bathroom at a spa, that's one of the first things I look at is I go to the bathroom and I see how clean the bathroom is. And I look at the corners and the dust, and if there's any grime. And if you have silk or artificial plants in your bathroom coated with dust, if I walked in and consulted with your spa or bought your spa, that would go right into the dumpster.
Julie's putting it right into the dumpster.
Right into the dumpster. And the second thing is the smell.
Yeah.
Like I'm a smell person. So if I walk in and it smells like acrylic nails, or I walk in and it smells like, you know, humid summer, I want to smell a spa.
Yeah.
I want to feel that there's some intention put into the experience when the person walks in the door. And that's one of the first things that hits them is, it smells so good here. That's what you want to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was known to overdo it with the eucalyptus room spray we had at one spa.
I
So
love
much
that
to the
film.
I know, me too. I had no problem with it. So much the fact that some guests would come in and like start coughing, and I was like, "You're a little dramatic, okay, Karen? Don't be so dramatic." And it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake oil. Like, it was good stuff. So I was like,
Right. Yeah.
it
I
wasn't
mean, we paid
synthetic.
hundreds of dollars a gallon for that.
Right? Like, get over yourself. So yeah, I mean, I think we would do a fair job ripping apart the physical space, definitely. But again, it's always the details, right? The dirt and your fake flowers. So it's so funny. And I often think about this with a house too, right? Like, the first thing people realize typically is just the vibe and like the cleanliness, right? Like, and
Mhm.
then they'll get into, "Oh, that's a really beautiful couch," or, "Oh, that's a great painting." But like, you could have the smallest house and it's beautiful and immaculate and people want to come visit it. And you can have the grandest house and you've got dirt and everything else in it. And people are like, "No, that's not it."
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
again, it's just the details.
It's always the details. Anything that we do, like your spa can be so successful, even if it's not the biggest, grandest, most beautiful spa that has the latest and best, most expensive equipment. And that's what I always tell people. It's in the service that you offer, right? It's the little details, the way that you make someone feel. And so sometimes we get caught up with our tables, our massage tables are, 10 years old and, don't have all the bells and whistles. Like you don't have a a built-in heated
Yeah,
table warmer. That's okay. Buy one from Universal companies. You don't need a built-in because
right.
let me tell you, I'm the first to tell you when that built-in breaks, it is a nightmare.
No one's going to be able to fix it.
Right. So don't feel bad about not having the biggest bells and whistles. I've seen solo estheticians that have just a regular generic massage table. It's not electric because guess
Mhm.
what? They're by themselves. They don't grow on any given day. It can be set at one
Yeah,
height all the time, but
right.
then they make it beautiful and they like cushion it with, like a mattress pad and then the heated table warmer and then these like beautiful comfortable sheets and a beautiful cozy blanket that makes you feel like when you sit on it, you're like cradled in a cloud.
Right.
And it's not, a $10,000 table. It's not crazy. So don't get bogged down with those things because, it's the minute details that you create a special experience that you have control over.
Absolutely. It's all about the foundation, right, that you're building. All right, what are things we are stopping immediately? We already know Julie is throwing out all your fake flowers, so that has stopped. What else are we stopping, Julie?
We're stopping discounting. We're stopping, the phrase, but that's how we always did it, right?
Oh, yeah,
If you do the same thing, right, over and over again and expect different results, it's not going to happen.
absolutely
So
right.
we're going to, start at the foundation and see if you have, a solid foundation or if there's cracks in it. and then we're going to work our way up from there.
Absolutely. That's how we always did it. It can only get you so far, right? Like it's definitely yeah, that's an answer, right? But then there's needs to be a rebuttal to that, right? That's how I was taught, but I could see the flaws in it now, right? Because you do only know what you know,
Right.
right? So I think it's valid. Yeah, I mean, we're stopping discounting everything. We're stopping 100% long, drawn out menus. It drives both of us insane. We're getting rid of services nobody books, nobody knows about. And we're, I mean, this is a double-edged sword. You have to think about your inventory, right? Are you carrying too much inventory or are you just not selling it?
Right.
So those are two different things, right? Because we know that if, Julie Pankey's coming in to take over your spa, you better have some retail to sell because she's about to sell it.
Yes.
So you don't want too much inventory, especially if you're not selling anything, but you don't want nothing to sell if you want to sell. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Also the dust on top of inventory drives me insane.
Yes. Yes. Dust on top of inventory and retail shelves. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that I have a cleaning business or have
Well,
this.
if you have dust on your retail products, it looks like they don't sell. So why would I want to buy a piece of junk on the shelf that doesn't sell because it had enough time to collect dust?
It had enough time, and it's probably honestly in the sunlight, so it's crap anyways. Just saying. All right, so now let's go into what are we investing in? So we're not going to invest in, the $10,000 heated table right off the bat. I mean, I definitely think there's time for that and space for that. And when you get to a certain thing, that might be something you really want to look into, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what do we want to invest in right away?
Number one would be the team.
Yeah.
If there's a team there, every guest experience never can rise above the employee experience. So I'm going to invest in leadership development, training, seeing where people feel, like seeing where people are, how they're feeling, who we're cutting, who we're keeping. And investing in training and creating clear communications and expectations, having a system, that works for accountability. I think that you're never going to go wrong when you invest in your people.
Yeah. 100%.
And your
Right?
system.
Yeah, your systems, your people, and honestly, again, it's the foundation, right? So, did you invest in that foundation? If we didn't, let's jackhammer it up and reinvest in it to make it stronger. I definitely think, and it doesn't have to be money necessarily that we're investing, but our time and our energy, right? Which is, what goes into your leadership. Like, we want to make sure if you have leaders in place that they feel like leaders and they feel like they can act like a leader.
Right.
Because there's no sense of paying them and having them if you don't actually give them any responsibility.
Right, exactly. And your systems are supposed to eliminate confusion, questions, disorganization. And so, that's the first and foremost thing, is to create systems that can help everybody do their job better.
I agree. We could go on and on and on about it. And maybe we will, maybe we'll break this up into future episodes because I feel like it's like a boot camp type of refresh. And it's really interesting, right? To see exactly like what goes in to spas, because still a lot of people think that they're not a real business and there's nothing that goes into them, and you don't need systems and you don't need cash flow, and you don't need any of these things. So I think this is a topic we can expand upon, but I want to do a fun little segment before we close out today, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Julie has no idea what I'm about to ask her, so this will be great. So it's going to be
Great.
a rap segment. So Julie's the expert and I am the interviewer, Julie. Let's roll. Julie, you walk into a spa and the retail sales are 4%. What is your reaction?
I throw up.
Okay. All right. And what should your retail sale percentage be?
Well, I think that your retail sales, at a day spa should be a minimum of 40% retail to service. That's at a day spa. However, I do know that like industry statistic is 20% or less. So
Yeah.
if you're at 4%, then, my goal is to get you to 10% and then we
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah. Baby steps, but 4% ain't that's not gonna cut it, okay?
No. I mean,
Okay.
nobody's making money off 4%. And
Nobody's making money off of
that
it.
can be one of your biggest profit margins is retail sales. If you know me, you've heard me say that till I can't say it anymore.
Till you're blue in the face. All
Right.
right, Julie, let's see. We inherit, or you inherit, a spa team. No, you inherit a spa team that's been together for 10 years. Good or scary?
Well, it's going to depend on the business. If is it a team that works well for 10 years or is it a team that hates each other for 10 years? And from the top down, what have you created for them as systems? As team building. I mean, it's not scary to me because if they don't work, I'll just get rid of them.
It's true. My gut reaction is,
When
how
you
much are
first
you?
buy it, you know what I
Yes.
mean? You're like, let's meet with each person and find out what's working, what's not working. And, it's very telling when you meet with people, like who is going to be, the rallier and who is
Right.
going to be the bad apple, the worm in the bad apple.
Yeah, absolutely. My first instinct is a team that's been together that long is what does your payroll look like? Are you overpaying them? Is that why they haven't left? That's my first instinct. All right. So now, Julie, next question. If I only gave you access to one report in their spa system, spa software, what report do you want to see?
Utilization rate. So
Utilization rate.
if you have 5 treatment rooms and you're open 12 hours a day, what is your utilization rate? What is the one esthetician's utilization rate that can't, seem to retain clients for some reason?
So utilization rate for the provider and the resource, so the room, like
Uh-huh.
how, yes, okay. Broken down to two separate things. That might be two different reports, so I'm not sure, but we'll try it. All right, now let's see. What's the first financial red flag that makes you nervous?
When people take money out of their cash register, like at a salon or day spa, and, they just take money out to pay for lunch or, go mail things or, pay somebody that comes in, that's a big financial red flag because that tells me don't know really anything about where their money is going.
Gosh, that makes me nervous just thinking about it. Oh, no, I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. All right, our last one, Julie. If I told you it was my spa, right? You came to buy my spa. I told you I had a zero marketing budget. We were looking at our financials, and you said, why isn't there any money in this marketing line? It should always be a percentage, right? Why is there no marketing budget? Where would you start?
Where would I start?
Yes. Did I stutter?
Well, I would start by saying, no wonder why you're selling this business.
Yep.
And then I would start with free marketing. So marketing doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You own a mailing list. So are using a computer system and are you getting people's emails? And if you have been, great, then I already have a great mailing list. If you're using an antiquated system, you still have contact details of some sort for your guests. It might just be phone numbers that we can then start calling them all and saying, this is the new business. I'd like to get your contact details so we can put you into a computer system so that we can tell you about our new specials and invite you to our grand opening. And so starting with what's free, your manpower, have you created a Facebook or an Instagram page? That's also free. And it doesn't have to be, gone are the days that you're sending out 20,000 mailers. I mean, you could do that, or paying a ton of money to be on the radio. Again, you could do that at the right time, but that doesn't have to be, your very first step. Your very first step is doing the things that are free, and, you own your mailing list above anything else. And those are the people that have been to you that, like we said before, our lowest hanging fruit are people that are already loyal to our business, that we can get them to come more frequently and sell them more.
Absolutely. I do agree. I don't think marketing budgets for your typical businesses, right? Like, we're not talking about behemoths, right? We're not talking about your resort spas right now, most likely. We're talking about your day spas or your solo owned spas. But I do think that the marketing budget doesn't need to be as high as perhaps it once was.
Right.
Because there are so many things now that you can do for free. But I would say, if I saw zero money in your marketing budget or that line item didn't even exist, I would say, okay, but what's your marketing plan, right? So maybe they have utilized all these free tools and partnerships and things that they don't have a marketing budget. But then I would go further, because that's a red flag. If you've got nothing in your marketing budget, that means to me that you probably have no marketing plan and you're just flying by the seat of your pants.
Right. And one thing I always ask is, do you have a business plan? And a lot of people think that they don't need a business plan because, they don't get outside financing or whatever. But an evolving business plan is a success roadmap to a successful business. And part of a successful business plan is a marketing plan.
Absolutely. Couldn't have it said it any better myself, Julie Pankey. Again, I feel like we need to pitch this to HGTV or something and have a spa rehab business. At the end of the day, this episode was fun, right? We used our imagination. It was about looking at your business with fresh eyes. Sometimes when we're in it every day, we stop seeing what's right in front of us, including the fake plants and the cigarette butts. So this week, challenge yourself to walk into your business, home, or your job as if you just got the keys, quote unquote. What would you keep? What would you improve? And what deserves a little bit more attention? Because often the next level of growth isn't found in doing more, it's found in seeing it differently.
Exactly. Great. So thanks for joining us today for a little experiment of playing What If We Bought Your Spa? We won't be buying it, just so you know. But I hope that it gives you some insight when you're walking into your business this week, that you do look with fresh eyes and go look at those dirty plants and throw them in the dumpster if they exist. Or the other thing is those rechargeable flicker candles that have like a coating of dust on top. Drives me insane. Like, I literally walk through and like clean it with my sweater if I see it. And people just don't look with that attention to detail. But when I'm coming to visit your spa, if you see my name on your books, you know that I'm looking with that detail. We will see you next time live here in the SpaHive. In the meantime, have yourself a great week.
Bye, Julie. Bye, listeners.
Bye, MaryAnn. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today in the SpaHive.
If this episode sparked an idea, made you think differently, or just made you feel a little less alone in business or life, share it with someone who might need it too.
Don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss a conversation.
And check out the show notes for links, resources, and ways to stay connected with us, including the Spa 101 course taught by our very own Julie Pankey.
We're so grateful you're part of this community.
And we'll see you next time.